Airbnb is garbage nonsense that I have hated since its inception. I hated it before it ruined the housing market, just purely off its rancid vibes. I mean, if you think about it, in the last 30 years, technology has rarely ever given us anything new. Ubers are just taxis with more stains and cigarette stench. A podcast is just talk radio with way less talented hosts. And ChatGPT is just taking words from the internet, mangling them together and throwing them back out there. It's just recycling. Most big tech solutions are just rebrands of things we used to have, and Airbnb is no exception. Staying at an Airbnb is like having a sleepover in your high school friend's basement, except your high school friend is not there, but his overbearing father is, and instead of playing Never Have I Ever, he's just gonna be leaving passive-aggressive sticky notes everywhere. Airbnb is the only platform that you pay to do chores. It's insane. Wash the sheets, clean the bathroom, do the dishes. I don't even do most of these things in my own apartment, and you have to do this entire garbage list of not fun activities because at the end of it, they rate you. What do you mean you rate me? If I stay at a hotel, I rate the hotel. It's not like the cleaning ladies like get off their shift and write down on their blog all the gross shit I did. I'm pretty sure that's against the Hippocratic Oath. We had it right the first time. Hotels are a place where you can do whatever you want, however you want to do it. I mean, you can't, set fire to the drapes and put the bath mat in the toilet, but besides that, you're clear sailing. So come with me as I explain why hotels are one of the most underrated pleasures of the modern era. Today we're going analog on the hospitality industry. I love hotels. It's almost a fetish at this point. I love them so much. So how do I say this without sounding creepy? Staying at hotels inflate my ego. I don't think I accomplished the task I set out to do there. But there's just a bunch of things that happen in hotels that make me feel like a 1930s starlet at the peak of the golden age of Hollywood. Shoving a crisp $5 bill into the bellhop's hand, getting called sir when I check in at the desk. I get to pretend I'm a giant when I use those tiny bottles of shampoo in the shower, and that's not really a luxury thing, that's more of a me thing, but it's still really fun. And the little paper cups they have in your room, and they're covered in plastic, and you get to unwrap them like it's a gift of hydration. It's not good for the environment, but it is fun. Hotels are all about the accommodations. They can't help but accommodate you. It's in their nature. And all that stuff is just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to all the fun stuff that gets me jazzed up about staying in a hotel. I mean, first of all, no rules, as I stated earlier. Whereas any standard Airbnb has a binder full of checkout rules, which is a term that makes me want to do a cannonball into a bed of nails, traditional hotels don't even have a binder in your room. And if they do, it's full of yummy treats you can order for room service or fun things to do in Cincinnati, Ohio, which is kind of an oxymoron, but I appreciate the effort. The freedom and lack of rules gives new life to any man, woman, or non-binary buckaroo that has been stuck in a lifestyle of compromise in a cubicle or a relationship. Go ahead and jump on the bed, sneeze a little too loud, read the Bible in the nightstand as a goof or whatever you want to do with that. And if you do eventually get a little too rowdy, all they do is send a guy up to your room to politely ask you to calm down. That's all they gotta do. If you try and pull a fun all-nighter at an Airbnb, they will not so politely kick you out to the street and not even refund you. Another fun thing about hotels, the minibar, an iconic symbol of luxurious hedonism. Popularized by the Hong Kong Hilton Hotel in 1947, these staples of hotel life have been thrilling guests for decades. Once Hilton started putting these things in every hotel room, they reported a 500% increase in both beverage and food sales, and of course they did. Who wouldn't want to get hammered off of tiny bottles of booze and convenient cans of Coca-Cola? I mean, it's so cute and adorable. Now, is everything in the minibar extremely overpriced and kind of a letdown when you eventually eat it? Of course, but that's kind of the point. It's a little naughty to take a $2 nip of vodka that costs $8 out of a minibar fridge, but you're on vacation, baby. You came out to spend money. If you didn't want to spend money, you'd be still at home. In for a penny, in for a pound, start drinking, puss. Another fun thing about hotels is the room service. You're not gonna get that at Airbnb. You're gonna get a confused Uber Eats delivery guy who can't find you. Who needs that lukewarm, running late McDonald's delivery order when you can just order hot and fresh ready food right to your room? Overpriced, but you can still do it. Most of them serve the classics, burgers and fries, steaks. Hell, some of them have all-day breakfast. That gets me so excited. If I can get pancakes and eggs at any hour of the day, I'll pay $1 million. Sign me up, daddy. And with certain hotels, room service doesn't end with the food. The Milestone Hotel in London offers in-room private performances by the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra. Seems a little awkward that you just sit there while they play music, but an experience nonetheless. At the Parkland Hotel in New York, all you have to do is dial 5 on the phone in the room and you will be connected to the caviar hotline, which is a real thing. They'll offer you a variety of caviars that they will bring up to the room for you. Now, I personally find caviar disgusting, but it's more about the fact that they'll do it rather than actually getting it. And of course, how could we forget the amenities that come with any hotel? We got the pool, we got the fitness center, we got that weird business center thing that no one really uses, but it's kind of quaint and adorable. One of my favorite things about hotels is their scrappy little gym. gyms. They're legally allowed to be called fitness centers because they got 2 treadmills, a weird array of dumbbells, and one of those bouncy yoga balls that you can sit on, and that's fine by me. People are never in there because, frankly, it's awful, but that's exactly what a fella like me is looking for. When I almost throw up from exhaustion from jogging on the treadmill for 30 minutes, I don't want anyone near me when I do that, and that's why those hotel fitness centers are perfect for an out-of-shape piece of shit like me. And then we have the perfect over-chlorinated hotel pool, which, you know, brings back memories. Yes, it might be negative 20 degrees in upstate New York right now, but that's no reason to not take a tiny little dip in a hot hotel pool. You open those swinging doors, get blasted in the face with what I can only assume is a notch below mustard gas, get acclimated to the climate, jump in the pool, and get those butterflies in, baby. You got some work to do. Yeah, there's usually a bunch of annoying kids running around the pool, but you can just yell at them. Their parents aren't there. These are hotel pool children. They're barely even people. And when you're done with your soak, you head on right over to that charmingly inefficient business center. Check your email every 30 seconds due to horrible Wi-Fi, print some shit out for some reason, take a trip to the past and send a fax. Why do they have that machine there? Who's still using that? Truly, hotels have everything a man would need to feel like a king for a night. But hotels are not created equal. Each brand has their own pros and cons. And wouldn't you like me to rank them for you? I'll do that soon, but first we have an ad. I'm sorry, that was mean, but we're gonna do an ad now. Hey, is there any chance you're looking for some fun, but you refuse to go outdoors because it's scary? And for good reason. There's other people out there, and they suck. Well, don't miss out on the thrill of life while staying inside. Why don't you give DraftKings Casino a shot? DraftKings Casino is the #1 casino in America with over 300 real money games. And luckily enough, no pun intended, they have partnered up with me so I can tell you about it. I mean, fun fact, all new customers who sign up using promo code BIGTUG and make a minimum $5 deposit, yeah, they'll get an instant deposit match up to $100 in casino credits. Are you kidding me? You know who won't be doing that? Real casinos. They don't like you as much. They'll yell at you when you take off your shirt when you're gambling, even though they gave you enough drinks to the point where, you know, it was on them after a while. DraftKings Casino has blackjack, roulette, craps, and over 175 slot games, new and old. And even though DraftKings Casino might not be available in your home state, you can still check out the DraftKings Fantasy app where you have a chance of winning cash prizes all season long. DK Casino is safe, secure, and reliable. You don't have to worry about nothing except how to count to 21, which I struggle with. If the dealer doesn't say it out loud, I get nervous. So head to the DraftKings Casino app right now and use promo code BIGTUG when signing up to get matched dollar for dollar up to $100 on your first deposit. Have fun, stay safe, and gamble responsibly with DraftKings Casino, the only place where you can play blackjack in your underwear. I know, I've tried a lot of other places. So you know those hotels with 4 or 5 star ratings that they like to brag about? Those are horse shit. Those are made up. The points don't matter. There's no real general consensus or one true authority on who gives those ratings. I mean, there's AAA and Forbes who are like the authority on the situation, but hotels, they'll just take any website or reviewer that gave them 5 stars and call themselves a 5-star hotel. Like they don't care. There's no standardized criteria, and I kind of think that's a crime because if you end up going to a 5-star hotel and get 3-star service, I'd be a little niffed. I'd be a little stiffy about that. That's not the word. So based on a very stringent set of criteria, I'm gonna provide the quintessential star rating for some popular hotel chains. So let me introduce you to the Tug Rating and Notability Scale. I promise you the title came before the acronym. I hope I didn't offend anyone. Up first, we have Hilton Hotels. What a classic. I mean, first of all, we gotta mention the fact that Hilton Hotels gave us Paris Hilton, notable Nepo baby of the early 2000s. She had a great reign as a tabloid and reality TV star and also had her own pop album which sold 600,000 copies, which is crazy. But people were dying for any skinny white woman to spit on them in the early 2000s, so I kinda understand. But that number pales in comparison to the 30 million cookies that Hilton DoubleTree hotels give away to guests every year. This is a real thing. Apparently, these places are known for their cookies, and people really f with these cookies. The recipe for these cookies was apparently a really well-guarded secret, like KFC or Coca-Cola. I've never had one of these cookies, but apparently it's been compared to a warm summer day in your mouth, or crack cocaine. And then in 2019, they released the recipe for the cookies during the COVID lockdown, because I assumed they thought the world was ending, because no one was staying at hotels, so I kinda get it. Kinda sad, though. Also, Hilton is on track to be the first hotel in space, which is crazy. Recently, Hilton struck a deal with NASA and Lockheed Martin to design the astronaut living quarters on private space stations. Lockheed Martin, known for fun space hotels and nothing else. So they gave us Paris Hilton, cookies, and space hotels. That's pretty cool. I'll give it a 6 out of 10. I'm not gonna be ranking these places on what the hotels are actually like, just the weird things that come with them, if you haven't noticed yet. And then we have Trump Towers. So, hey, listen, okay, listen, hey. I'm talking about the goddamn buildings, not the dude. So let's just break down the facts. The Trump Hotel in Vegas is popular, but one of the only hotels in Las Vegas that doesn't have a casino attached to it, which is weird until you realize that he tried to do a bunch of hotels with casinos attached to them in the 80s at Atlantic City, and they all failed. So, you know, he probably was a little gun shy about the whole situation. He also owned the New York Plaza Hotel, which he doesn't anymore, but it was featured in Home Alone 2, pretty baller. He also had a cameo in the film while owning the hotel, so I get that counts for something. Although Chris Columbus did say that Trump bullied his way to get that cameo, and Trump says he didn't, so I don't know. We're not getting into that. Also, almost every one of the hotels has Trump's name plastered on the side of them, which is kind of baller in an evil villain kind of way. Like, I'd imagine Biff in Back to the Future 2 would do the same kind of thing with his giant building, and I think he did. I don't know. I might be misremembering that. I think he might be based off of Trump in that movie. And also, in 2022, my brother came to visit me in Chicago, and he stayed in the Trump Tower because he thought it'd be a really nice thing to do, and he got the city view room because he wanted a good view of the city, and he got to the hotel, and he looked out the window, and he had no view of the city. It was just a view of the river, and he said, "Why is this the situation?" And they told him, "Oh, if you wanted a view of the city, you should have got a river view room." And he said, "What the f are you talking about?" And then my friend who lived in the residential part of the Trump Tower needed a chair that I bought for him, so I tried to bring the chair up to him, and they stopped us in the lobby and tried to take the chair away from me, and they said it was illegal for me to bring a chair up there. And it was a big situation, and my brother finally said, "F it, arrest us. We're going up to that room with the chair." And then we did, and we went up, and they didn't do anything about it. But a lady in the elevator who was a huge Trump supporter told us we're f***ing losers, and my brother went off on her, called her a lot of mean names. So 2 out of 10. F that place. F that place. And then we have the Marriott, the compromise of the family vacation. The Marriott company, and this is not a joke, started out as a root beer stand in 1927. Nothing says luxury like a crisp mug of bark. The root beer stand then started to sell food in the winter to make up for slow sales and eventually became the first catering service for airlines. We're still off track to get to hotels, but I'm sure this will circle back. And then in 1957, J.W. Marriott opened his first hotel, and now they own 30 brands and over 8,000 properties. Okay, so none of that mattered. The root beer and the food, none of that. How did they make the business leap to, okay, whatever. Marriott also owns the hotel brand Moxie, which does a lot of weird shit. They have something called ASMR bedtime stories where they get B-list celebrities to whisper you to sleep, which is a little horny. They also have a thing called Hotel Heist, which is a thing where they blindfold guests and escort them into their bedrooms to hear, quote, thrilling stories. Started out with root beer. I don't know how we got here. Despite all the horny stuff I just said, the Marriott family are devout Mormons. Would not have guessed that. And also, the Marriott Hotel are going to be the first people to institute robot butlers, which is a little just crazy. So we got Mormons, robots, airline food, root beer, ASMR, and kidnapping guests. So all of that's kind of cool. But the first thing I think about Marriott is crappy airline hotels. So 4 out of 10. And finally, we have Sheraton, a kind of upper class hotel, I think, that my mom would make me stay at when I was a kid because she would spend her Amex points on it and I would be happy to do so. Amex or Amex, whatever. The fact of the matter is I have a lot of good memories there and I would give it a 7 out of 10 except for the fact that I just read that Marriott owns it. So I guess that doesn't really count. Oh, they also own the Ritz. Oh, they own like every other hotel that's not a Hilton or a Trump. That's not good. Marriott Bonvoy, that's like a monopoly. Okay. All right. Every time I make one of these videos, I always circle back to end stage capitalism and I try and avoid it, but Jesus Christ, it's hard to avoid when things like this keep sneaking through. On to the next segment. So I thought I'd end this video with something a little silly because I am an internet clown and God forbid I don't dance for the court. So while doing my research, I found a bunch of crazy ass hotels that I found insanely interesting and now I'm passing the comedy savings on to you. Quick note, I do not like leaving the country, so I do not have first-hand experience of going to any of these hotels. So if any of my followers would like to follow up and go and do these things for me, I would appreciate that because I can live vicariously through people who respect me for some reason.
Also, quick note, that graphic I just pulled to show my subscriber number, it's on this website that has all my YouTube stats on it, and for some reason, it's telling people that I'm making $53,000 to $150,000 a month. I don't know where it's getting these numbers. I'm not making that much. I just want people to know that this is inaccurate. Holy shit, I would not be making videos. I'd be in Cabo. I'd be partying it up. Anyway, back to the video.
Up first, we have the 727 Fuselage Home. This is what it looks like. It's a plane. It's a plane you can sleep in. A refurbished Boeing 727 that, for some reason, someone turned into a hotel. It's shockingly nice on the inside, which I was not expecting. I assumed it to be rusted out metal and just a bunch of coconut crabs that would eat you while you fell asleep. It has 2 beautiful bedrooms and sits 50 feet above the Costa Rican jungle. Now, I know I don't like jungles. I've talked about it before in certain videos, but this jungle is timid and it has sloths and monkeys, so it gets a pass. It also has a little wooden deck on one of the wings, which is cute, so you can get a good view of the ocean and the jungle, because you can't really get a good view from the inside because it's an airplane, and airplanes have tiny little windows. And I feel like that was a design flaw, but they figured it out by just putting wood on the wing. And also, you can technically say you spent your vacation in a cabin. Because you know, you get whatever, fuck. Then we have Luda Salada. Right next to the world's largest salt flat in Bolivia, it is actually a hotel completely made out of salt. Is that right? That can't be true. The walls are salt, the floors are salt. Yeah, everything is salt. Okay, that's odd. I mean, it's pretty much a regular hotel besides that. It's got Wi-Fi, concierge, bedrooms. It's just everything's a little bit saltier. But also, when it rains, the salt flat next to the hotel becomes like a beautiful mirror that reflects the sky, and it's like a once-in-a-lifetime experience to see that kind of thing. But I would also imagine that rainwater hitting a hotel completely made out of salt would do something horrendous to the structural integrity of the building. But, you know, I'm not an architect or a chef, so I wouldn't know. And also, they filmed The Last Jedi here, so that's fun. If you're a self-hating nerd, you can get a kick out of this. And then we have the Liberty, which is sadly the most Boston hotel ever conceived. A giant middle finger to anyone who's been swept up in mass incarceration. People in Boston will pay money to spend the night in the old Charles Street jail, like the place criminals are forced to go. Of course, the rooms are now swankier than they were when the jail first opened in 1851. Just take a look at them. But still, you know, haunted vibes. Rancid haunted vibes that I want no part of. And I'm glad they updated the rooms because in 1973, the poor living conditions of the jail were found to violate the prisoners' human rights, which is why in 1990 they abandoned the place, and then some weird asshole decided to make a hotel out of it. And then finally we have the Farlada Crane Hotel in Amsterdam. So as we know, people visit Amsterdam for two things: drugs and sex. Let's not kid ourselves. Like, I'm sure they have some nice museums, but the red light district is right there, and you can just eat mushrooms and no one's gonna yell at you. But while you're there, why not have mushroom-induced sex on a 160-foot crane? Why not do that? A 9-year renovation project turned this crane into an exclusive, luxurious spot for anyone who wants to spend a night in hell. An elevator takes you directly to your room, which is good because you don't have to spend that much time feeling the panic-induced vertigo that you will feel. And also, fun fact, the rooms sway in the wind. They move when the wind blows, so you really feel safe and cozy. That wouldn't make me cry or throw up at all. That's just crazy. It's crazy that you could take mushrooms and then go and sleep in a room that is swaying in the wind. I can't think of a worse way to, it's like you're trying to induce psychosis. It's like you're trying to lose your mind. So there you have it. We lost the plot a little bit, but Airbnb sucks, and regular hotels are the bee's knees. They are the balls. I mean, at this point, Airbnb doesn't even save you money. Like, that was the whole point in the beginning, and now Airbnbs are as expensive as hotels. So just get a hotel. They're gonna, you know, clean your room for you. You don't have to fucking sweep and mop. It's stupid. New videos every Saturday. Like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching. I wore a robe for this. I hope that translated into me, like, being in a hotel rather than me being a lazy piece of shit. It's both, but I hope that it translated well.